Hello YouTube, Southern Wolverine here again with another 2v2 Rome 2 Total War battle. Here is my Egyptian general on his African war elephant. Down in the background here we see 3 units of my Ptolemaic cavalry, composes my entire cavalry force. My front line is 4 units of thorax pikes. My second line is flanked by Thurio spears as a cavalry defense, and my melee line has royal thorax swords and 2 units of normal thorax swords. My lead group of skirmishers is 5 Rhodian slingers, and 2 light peltists. Now, one of the opposing armies is Bactria, so I was worried there'd be a lot of horse archers, hence the 5 slingers. This is Comrade Drago's army. He's got 5 units of auxiliary Syrian archers as his lead skirmish force. And then he's in this sort of standard Roman, I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but the standard, spaced formation, whatever it is. He's got a mix of Eagle cohort and Eqypt cohort. About 10 units of heavy infantry. His general is a general bodyguard. And out here he has, I believe, 4 auxiliary cav. No, 2 of them are Praetorian cav. So pretty good melee cav force. At the other side here, the Bactrian force, this was Sparta only. His army looks a little bit more like mine. He's got a front line of thorax pikes. Looks like 6 of them. His skirmish force is a mix of these mercenary Syrian archers. I believe he's got 2 of them, and Bactrian peltists. He's got about 4 of these guys. And he's got also some thorax swords here, and 2 units of garden variety pikemen, basically to deny this flank. His general is also on an elephant, although his is an Indian armored war elephant, and is superior to mine, and his cavalry is 4 units of Bactrian royal cavalry. Over here to Macedon, we got a front line again of thorax pikes. 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. There are actually 4 of these Thessalian cav. You just can't see the other 3 right now. He has a skirmish force of light peltists, 4 of them, and a line of hoplites. 5 or 6 of them. Alright, so let's let this roll. Alright, after quickly scanning across these 2 armies, we quite readily determined that we were more worried about the Bactrian army than the Macedonian one. Also, Comrade Drago apparently knows Sparta only. He knew this would probably be a pretty good army and well commanded. So Sparta only is going to be our priority here to try and defeat him, because if we take him, we're pretty sure we can outflank and destroy this Macedonian army pretty much at will. You see the enemy alliance here does have a bit of a hill advantage, especially at this end of the line. They're up on the high ground. If I can get to about here, though, that won't be too bad. If they were to meet me right where I'm standing, I would have been in pretty serious trouble. But as it is, it won't be too big of a penalty. I see the trouble is right here where my cavalry approach is pretty much the steepest uphill part of the field. So a cavalry strike downhill on my flank could be potentially dangerous. So if we drop in... Fine. If we drop in over here, you see this is a pretty steep charge zone. So I was a little concerned about that. So to start off with, I kept my Ptolemaic cav in behind my infantry force, intending to use them as an intercepting force if these Bactrian skirmishers, or these Bactrian cavalry rather, move to flank me. I was very happy not to see any Bactrian horse archers. Those guys are very annoying. Although these peltists are almost as annoying when you have a pike line, because while your pikes are fighting their pikes, the peltists can just be laying into you. So my hope is that I can do enough damage, take out these Syrian archers, and then use my skirmishers' longer range to try to whittle these guys down. That's the idea anyway. And then after that, I feel better about my pikes engaging. And I have more melee troops, so I'm hoping that I can get a good flank on with my melee troops. That's the idea anyway. Meanwhile, Drago's just sort of moving his guys up. At this point, I believe I was telling him, hey, let's focus on Bactria. Not too worried about Macedon. His light peltists are going to be vulnerable if they come out to try to counter these longer range Syrian archers, and the cav could come in and hit him or something. And I believe this cavalry will have a advantage in the long run. They might take a nasty charge from these guys, although there is a unit there. I said there weren't any companions. Looks like there's one unit of companions as the general. So I believe this cav force would do well against those Thessalians. That companion cavalry would do some pretty good damage, though. So I'm looking to start the skirmishing fight here to try and take advantage of my longer range. And this whole formation is coming up. Looked like he was trying to meet me on the downslope here, because if he stayed where he was, I could get up on level ground with him, and that would negate this hill advantage for the most part. See, we got ever so slight grade, but I really want to get up here and engage. I don't want to fight from where I'm at, except with missiles. So I'm going to keep an eye on these Bactrian Royal Cav that are starting to flank me, and the elephants have also moved out here, so that's something I want to be aware of. See, they're just out of range of my skirmishers. It would be nice to get some missiles on them and hope to get them to panic or something. These circles on the ground are a little weird. That's like a shadow of this pike formation circle. I kind of wish they'd take that out of the game. It's just weird and distracting, and there's really no reason it should be there. I don't understand why it is there. So here we go with the skirmishing fight. So 2 units of mercenary Syrians. These are pretty solid units, but against 5 of these Rhodian slingers, these guys are going to start to take losses pretty quick. And I got 3 units shooting at these guys, 2 units shooting at the other one. So even though these guys have better armor than me, they should start to fall pretty quick. Now, Sparta Only's doing something pretty smart here, and this is something I like to do too. So I knew exactly what he's going for. He's using these Bactrian Royal Cav. Any casualties they do is a bonus, but they're primarily a disruption force. I don't know if he expected to get a hold of me or if he was just trying to drive me back, but either way he wins. So I tried to move out my spears to intercept and drive him off, pulled back behind the pikes temporarily, and now I'm bringing back up my skirmishers. These guys are taking some missile shots in the back, but they're reasonably well armored, so they're not going to take many casualties with that. But it did mean that his Syrians got some free shots at me while I was maneuvering. So that's a good move. It's minimal risk to the cavalry if you get him out of there fast enough. My own cavalry wasn't really in a position to intercept. So now it's 3-on-3 out here. I'm just going to kind of shadow his cavalry since they're pretty much sitting out here still. Try to get back into this skirmish fight. And meanwhile, better believe I'm keeping a careful eye on those elephants. So these guys are still taking sling fire, and here comes this harassing unit of cavalry again. My spear's a little closer by this time, so he doesn't get quite as close to me. I'm not too worried about these guys taking missile damage, so I'm just going to leave these Thuriel spears near the skirmishers, just to try to keep these guys off. Yeah, he's going to make another run for it here. I'm actually going to get a piece of him just for a second, but he gets him out. He lost a couple guys in there, but not a big deal for him. Now, while he's clearly micromanaging this unit, so while he's doing that, I'm going to come out to the flank here. And even though it's an uphill charge, shot cav on shot cav, whoever gets the charge is going to have the advantage. So I just run these guys out here just to try to jump in. I'm not sure why this unit didn't fully engage. They just kind of got stuck here, and there's a group of them just going to be sitting here for a while. I guess that's a glitch that probably ought to be fixed. Of course, now you see some of these Bactrian Royal Cav escaped that attack, and now the elephants are coming down in here, and that's something I want to be worried about. This one unit of Bactrian Cav that was harassing me originally made a run on Drago, and was trying to hit his skirmishers, and these elephants are just going to smash in my Thuriel spears. I was hoping these guys would hold these elephants up, or that he would come into my pike line. He was too smart for that. Because if these spears could hold them up for even a little while, see how much damage they took. That was pretty ridiculous. I didn't expect him to win, but I thought they would hold for a second or at least tie him up long enough for my light peltist to get in here and try to do some damage. But he completely circumvented my pike line. And see, I'm trying to help Drago out by shooting missiles at these guys to get them to panic. But look how fast their kills are rising. He's doing what he's got to do. He's just continually charging. They've got trample on, it looks like. Or they had it. They might have expired at this point. But they're just piling through this Roman army. And look at this. 540 kills already. Almost 600. Yeah, you just keep these guys moving, keep charging. They can do some pretty heinous damage. So he's just completely thrown Drago's army into disarray with that single unit of elephants. Of course, now without the units over here by his own army, I'm going to bring my elephants out, who aren't as good, but so I didn't want them to fight those elephants. And I'm trying to bring them into this fight to try to turn this cavalry fight my way. That's already going my way. I really just want to end this fight so I can get this cav loose and flank him and try to hit his skirmishers and all that kind of fun stuff. So this Bactria and Macedon's been pretty beat to hell. There's not a whole lot of these guys left. So he's trying to get some harassing value out of them. And perhaps a little prematurely, I brought the pikes up. Try to start the engagement since the elephants are out of the way. And these not light peltists, but Bactrian peltists are doing exactly what they're there to do. I'm sure this is what he took them for, to thin out an opposing pike line. And look at that, single volley, look how much damage it did to these guys. Of course I had their back turn, which was part of the problem. So I don't want that to happen for longer than it has to, so I'm going to get them out of there and try to use my skirmishers to drive these peltists back. Meanwhile, my whole melee infantry force plus this remaining unit of Thurio spears has come out to the flank so that they can attempt to push on the Bactrian flank. My cavalry's finally won this battle. It felt like to me like it took forever for them to win it. And they're going to hope for a shot at these skirmishers, and if they can't, they're going to go around behind here. So let's go check in on Drago. He's finally killed off these elephants with the help of some of my skirmishers. Now look at all these losses he took, though. I mean, this is just ridiculous. Just a bloody mess out of his heavy infantry. And those are some pretty good Evocati cohorts and things like that. So this unit's at half strength. This unit's at... Yeah, a lot of units at or below, just below half strength. So Drago's going to start skirmishing with the Macedonian now. And look to make his attack on him. You don't have to worry too much about these hoplites because his melee troops will destroy him. He does have to flank these pikes whenever possible. So seeing that he got beat up, I'm trying to push it, take out Bactria so that I can get pushed downhill on Macedon and help take him out. So these two units of pikemen here to deny this flank are kind of following with my cavalry. Now they're not in pike wall yet. It's because he's waiting for them. He's not when they're not in pike wall, they're more mobile. So I assume that's why he left them out of pike wall. He's trying to let them continue to position, and when they face a threat, they will activate their pike formation and become far more dangerous. So I'm going to try to take advantage of a 2-on-1 here and take out these thorax swords. If I can take these guys out, I can push through and I can flank these guys when my pikes engage them from the front. That's the idea anyway. So you see I tried to get these pikes before they got into pike formation, hoping he wasn't paying attention. Got 20 of them, but his pikes got down, so I pulled these guys out of the way. My cavalry came around behind, tried to assassinate this unit of Royal Cav that's still left. And then these pikes came around, the skirmishers started getting in the fight, so I decided to get out of there. But now they're busy, so I'm attacking this pike line now with everything I got. So I got some swords in the flank, although these pikes are coming up to help. And thorax pikeman versus thorax pikeman here, right down the line. Of course, I'm taking all this missile fire. My light peltists are also contributing to missile fire, though, so this is going to be pretty bloody in here as these pikes hit. Now, this unit's not going to fare super well. They took some casualties on the way in. They're fighting a larger unit. They got a little bit disarrayed there on the attack order. I'm not quite sure why that happened. Possibly they tried to turn when I gave them an order. These guys, these thorax pike, I was focusing some missile fire on them, so they're going to disintegrate pretty quickly. And so he's bringing over the units that were guarding his flank against Drago and trying to bring them into the fight against me. Yeah, just a lot of little micromanagement things going on here. Although, you may look out here, while I'm doing all this, my elephants are just sitting here. Oops, they would have been very useful to have in this fight. but I'm very busy trying to maneuver all these units around. See, I got not a great flank on, but something of a flank on these pikes. They were back to back with the other unit of pikes while I was destroying those melee troops. So I'm just trying to get as many two-direction attacks on pikes as I can. These pikes destroyed that unit, and they're trying to engage the side. These light peltists ran out of ammo, so I'm running them in as a disruption force. And they get in these pikes, but they're not going to do very much. They're just there to try and keep things from reforming and all that. So he is getting these two pikes back into something resembling a pike line. Still got one unit screening against the remnants of my cavalry, who are still waiting for a shot at these peltists. So yeah, a lot of running around here. See, I get a good rear charge on these guys while they're trying to move around. These guys trying to run in. They get their pikes down, but I've still got some guys in contact with them. And now this unit comes back for a flank. Yeah, so I'm just trying to keep these melee troops running around and keep the Bactrians from getting set. Since I've got them on the defensive now, I'm trying to keep it that way. He's using these Bactrian peltists presumably the same way I was using mine a second ago, just to try to keep me busy. So we're trying to do a bit of a hammer and anvil. There's not much left of this unit, so they're not going to do a lot of damage. They did do a bit of a morale shock, which is going to help break these guys. Meanwhile, Drago's just in a sort of mass brawl, trying to run around behind the pike line. He's fighting a bunch of these hoplites who are just kind of holding position for now. These pikes are coming out against skirmishers. Not the greatest idea, because the skirmishers can just keep backing away. You'll never catch them. As I make a liar out of myself, because this unit got caught. Perhaps they weren't in skirmish or something, I don't know. And here's just another mass brawl, a bunch of cavalry in here. So these equal cohorts. These pikes didn't get in real clean. He's trying to maneuver them or something, and so they're not going to get a good, push against these eagle cohorts and things in here. So massive brawl over here too. Alright, so now Bactria has been pretty much cleaned out. So I'm trying to move everything down to help out against Macedon, but honestly Macedon didn't put up all that much of a fight. So Drago, even with his reduced numbers, was able to take him out. So yeah, I would like to point out a couple of units here in this battle. Right there, Indian Armored Elephants, 864 kills. Oh, just brutal. That's what happens when you don't have a unit to counter them. Although Rome, it's not the easiest thing to do to counter elephants with Rome. The Numidian Cav can sort of do it, running in throwing javelins at them. Your own javelins, even though they're cheap, can do some damage to them once they wear their health down. Scorpion or something can do it, although we're playing no art in this game. And some units like Triarii or decent spearmen can actually at least hold them up for a while. But yeah, they just had a field day on the Roman army. And these light peltists, or these Bactrian peltists rather, did quite a bit of damage to my pikes during that big brawl. Yeah, pretty nasty. In my army, there weren't any real big standouts, although my three melee units did pretty good in their outflankings and things. And a couple of units of my cavalry did quite a bit of damage. The African war elephants, like I said, I forgot them. They didn't manage to do a whole hell of a lot. So yeah, look at all the damage to Drago's infantry that was done. This was mostly done by those elephants, and some in the follow-on fight with Macedon. But some of these units still managed to do quite a bit of damage to the Macedonian army. 189, 279, 170. So, and Macedon didn't accomplish a whole hell of a lot. All his shot cav must have been charged before he realized what was happening. His skirmishers got shot from out of range. The hoplites were fighting swords. Yeah, so if Macedon had done done much of anything to support the attack of the elephants, he could have done quite a bit of damage to Rome while he was in disarray from that attack. So yeah, you got to take advantage of those opportunities. In any case, good game to everyone. Particularly Sparta only, and I had a great battle over there, even without his elephants involved with it, and my elephants, although for totally different reasons. So this has been another 2v2 replay. If you liked it, please like it, comment, and subscribe. And this is Southern Wolverine signing off.